Hello everyone. Can you hear me okay? Is the audio alright? Are the levels okay with the background music? How about that? Is that better? Is it still too high? Cool, thank you. So we have, let's see, 8 people in here out of our class of 23. So, how's everyone doing today? And if you can identify yourself by name in the chat, that would be helpful for those people that are in this class, just so we know who you are. Hello, Manuel. Hello, Michael. Hello, the current situation. Are you trying to say that there is... I can't tell. Oh, it's a praying mantis? Hello, Jason. Although I can't see you, I'm very happy to see you all. I know that, like, you know, Marcelo took over the last few weeks, and so I've been hiding in the chat, but obviously we haven't had any face-to-face interaction until now. Now I can see all of your usernames, and your usernames can see my face. So it's a step up as far as interaction is concerned. Okay, so I think we have... Hello, Matthew. Balosik? I don't actually know how to pronounce your last name. Balosik? Balosik? Is that right? Am I fucking it up? Balosik. I think I got it right? Cool. So special guest, we have Professor Beloshek, who teaches Beyond Games. Earlier, before this, I think at least one person is also in that class. I think Najee's in that class, and Marcus? I think they're both in that class, maybe. So not sure what's going on with that, but okay. So should we get started? It's weird because the number of people fluctuates between 12 and 8. And of course, Mas Tacos, please. By the way, Mas Tacos, please, you changed your name to Kevin on River. Should I call you Kevin or Mas Tacos, please? I'm cool with whatever you want.
Wake up.
Okay, so okay, but I guess just let me know what you prefer, at your leisure. So, I think I asked how everyone's doing. So, are people doing all right today? Looks cloudy now. It was nice earlier. At least it looked nice. I don't know. The sun was coming through the window, and now it's kind of dreary again. So we've been working on 3D stuff in this class, GD110, and so you all did UV unwrapping before, and then there was like a little bit of sculpting before that and some modeling. This week we were originally scheduled to work on animation stuff for 3D, so we were going to talk about keyframe animations and rigging a little bit, and we've changed it a little bit since then. So last night I had my Game Programming 2 class, and it was one of those days where people are maybe like not doing so great, and so we talked about it, and it's hard for people to feel successful lately with everything going on. I know you hear about this like every day, all the time, but I was just laying in bed last night talking to my partner about it, and trying to come up with ideas for how to make sure that everyone feels like they can go on, like continue and be successful. And so they told me about they did like a zine workshop like a week ago, I guess. And so in the zine workshop, it was all about like making zines about like quarantine. So these were coined as quarantines. So that's what we're gonna do today. So if you haven't already, if you wanna just grab some paper. So I have some paper that this is like printer paper, so this is just totally blank. If you have nice paper, you can use nice paper. If you have scrap paper, you can use scrap paper. It doesn't matter that much. It should be like rectangular though, and ideally have some room to write on it. So like, I could use this. This is like from the census. I already filled it out. Zines. So this would work just fine. So anything you have. And then if you also, so I have scissors here. You don't need scissors, but if you have them, they might be helpful. And by the way, I should mention that Professor Beloshek is a zine master. And so that's why he's here today, because I don't know anything about zines. So that's right, you're being taught by a non-expert right now, because I am not a zine master. But that's okay, because that's in the spirit of zines. So are people familiar with zines? Has anyone ever heard of zines? Zines? Please respond in the chat. Please, please, please. Thank you. Okay, so Manuel has not, and Evan has unparalleled knowledge. Okay. and Beautiful Soul 6, Michael, is that Michael? Has never heard of it. And Professor Boloshek is pretending like he doesn't know what they are, despite having mastered them, complete mastery. He's made over 5,000 million zines in the past few days, and he's going to share all of this with us. I can't speak today. It's because I'm nervous, because I haven't talked to you all in like weeks, so it's like weird. So I know he talked about zines in Beyond Games, because I saw him like cleaning up like 500 zines on the table one day. So I know that some of you have heard of these things. And so, like I said, I'm not a zine person, actually, although I'm surrounded by lots of zine people. And so zine, just like a little bit of background information. Does anyone have to guess for like what zine comes from? And I have like a bunch of them right here to show you all. Zine, Z-I-N-E. Any ideas? What could that be from? What could it be related to? Where could it come from? Perhaps magazine, maybe? So, yeah, so that's, and again, I'm not an expert, so that's my feeling, that it comes from magazines. So magazines are, things you flip through, periodicals, right? I'm sure many of you have touched a magazine in your lifetime, maybe less and less over time. I don't have any most of the time I had a magazine subscription, it just ended up in like a pile for like a year. And then I recycled it. I want to hang on to it to make sure I feel like I'm not wasting it. But zines are a little bit different, so it's shorter, it's easier, it's less formal. And so it's basically like a homemade magazine that people make themselves, people who are not necessarily designers, people that just want to make something creative. And so there are different types of zines. Some people do them like with just to showcase art. Some people have them to like have poetry or writing. Some people make comics out of them. And so there are like different uses for them. So I just show you a few that I have here. So this one is the top, and I can't speak today. I'm sorry if I make words that don't make sense and I say them out loud. Please let me know when you have a question. You're like, wait, what did you just say? Okay, so this is the top 6 makeout spots in NYC by Laura Lannis. And so Laura has made these little like breaks. So this is like Prospect Park is a lovely makeout spot in the East River. Also a good makeout spot, very hygienic. At the very top of the World Trade Center 1, the Apple Store line, good spots to make out. The waiting room at Planned Parenthood, toilet stalls at the Port Authority bus terminal. Nothing gets me hotter than the Port Authority bus terminal's toilet stalls. And then the back covers just have a great makeout. So, this is just something like really simple, not super important. It's just something people make for fun. Sometimes people have ideas for what they want to do, but it's just easy to make them, so why not make them? The Port Authority bus terminal. Oh yeah, I'm very serious about that. Okay, so here's another one from, my friend made this one. So, Honey, I'm Home. So they actually made this to serve as a business card. So like they work in game art. And so they made this little comic strip, finally come to bed. Yes, let me change out of my work clothes. Please be quick. Hat off. Shoes off. Sweater off. Shirt off. I don't know what that is. Wings out. Hi kitty, miss you today. Same here. After a long day in business mode, there's nothing better than to come home to you where I can be myself. And then it has their information on the back. And so they made these for GDC, the Game Developers Conference, to give out as business cards. Like most of what their drawings are like monster people. So it's very fitting that they make this thing to stand out. So like if you're at a conference where everyone's handing out business cards, this one's gonna stand out. So this one's very different. Let's see. So this is one about anarchist feminist organizing. So this is like a political one. And so it has like information about like different organizations involved in organizing. And so like you can see like photos are like taken from like different magazines, or they're printed off and then cut out and then put together in this little package. So there's also have another one which is an introduction to May Day. And so like you can see like a lot of these things involve, like this is one aesthetic that people use where they have like, it sort of looks like a very DIY aesthetic where it's like a collage almost. People cut out words and then sort of put them together and make photocopies of those things. And so this is a lot of text, but so you can see that there are like different ways, different types of topics people have zines for. This one's cool. It's called Sad Animals. So it's like all these animals like, I'm a fool, fuck, right? I'm fat, I'm no good. Sad koala. I'm so poor. I mean, I guess I don't have to go through all the pages, but you know, just like feeling shitty about this. I just can't decide ever, fuck. I mean, yeah, this is very relatable. I think I'm all of them. Or almost all of them. Yeah. I'm one dumb motherfucker. Am I living a lie? Basically, yeah. I mean, these are highly relatable, you know? This is, what is this, an octopus? It's like, oh, I kind of want to show you all a lovely meme, but I'm not going to right now. It's a total distraction. It's really funny though. It's really funny. I'll save it for later. I'll share it on River. Okay, so do people have an idea of like what zines can be? Just an idea? Because they can be anything really. Here's another one, which is like a very unusually formatted one. And it's like an accordion kind of thing, and it has just little drawings in it. And they're kind of random, so like they don't even really make sense. Scary. Let's see. This one's cool. I always like anything that involves blood. I'm a big fan of blood. Okay, so we have some commentary on this. That these are also anti-commentary on the structureless formality of the traditional magazine. I'll leave the deep analysis up to Evan. Like I said, I'm not a zine expert. I'm not a zine person. We're gonna make zines together, and it's gonna be the first time I've ever made a zine. So we have Evening Cicada joining us in the back. And okay, so was everyone able to locate paper and something to write with? So I have like a bunch of like Sharpies. Also have like a pen, but it's a blue pen, so not my favorite. What kind of stuff, what kind of paper do you use? Y'all have like blank paper? You have like markers, pens, pencils? Just curious. I'm just looking through my markers. markers. Like looking for maybe like 2 colors that might work well together. Maybe. Okay, so do people have something at least to start working? Like, cool, so Manuel has a blank paper and a pencil. And like I said, you know, it's not super rigid, so you could use, assuming you've already filled it out, you can use like a census, you know, just like some junk mail or something. Eggshell printer paper for printer that ran ink. I mean, as long as it can mark. I have my sketchbook and a pencil, colored pencils. Okay, cool. So it sounds like people are ready to go. Is that accurate? And a skizzer. Alright, another cool thing I forgot to mention, so the zines that we're going to make today are going to be in the format of the smaller ones that I showed you. So they're the ones that, okay, Vic's still trying to get materials, so this small one with 8 pages, so including the front and the back. So we're going to make ones like this. So the cool thing is that these fold out. So like you can see, it's just like a regular sheet of paper. And another cool thing about it is that all the stuff that you write is on one side. And so like if you wanted to make copies of this, you could just make a photocopy and you could send it to friends, you could give it away. You can scan it and put it on the internet or just take photos of it. So it's really easy to make many different copies to share with people. And I feel like a big part of this process, at least for today, is just making something, anything. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be anything. So I have just like some ideas just to like have a guided exercise. But if you want to like do if you want to go a different direction with your zine, you're welcome to. So I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. So hopefully Vic was able to find something. Okay, so you have your sheet of paper, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do, and let's see how badly I fucked this up. The first thing you're gonna do is fold the sheet of paper in half. So like I'm folding it so that, like I'm folding like, you know, holding it up tall and then folding the bottom to the top. And then I'm just gonna put it down and then press those edges. So we're creating all the folds that are necessary. So again, okay, cool. So I just took this first sheet and I held it like vertically, like portrait orientation, and then I took the bottom to the top, and then I just like made the lines a little bit cleaner. And then we're gonna do that again. So this time, so we have like this, and we're gonna fold it in half this way. So not so it makes a really long thing, but so they're like, you know, a little more square. Does that make sense? And feel free, if you have questions or you're lost, you need me to do something again, feel free to jump in to the chat. I really appreciate all the interactions people have, because it really helps feel like I'm not just talking to myself, because that makes me feel, you know, like, makes me feel a little bit crazy. So I really appreciate everyone's interactions. So again, we folded it in half once, and now I'm gonna fold it in half again. And I'm just gonna make it a little bit tighter there, so I'm just sealing off that edge. So is everyone able to follow that? Cool. Okay, good. So now we're gonna fold it one more time. So this time, again, we're not gonna make it like a skinny thing, we're trying to make it as square as possible. So I'm folding it over, so like this. So it's in the right, like, so it should look like the right size and shape of the ones that I showed you earlier. And I'm just trying to make it as tight as possible. So you have something that looks like this. it's 1/8 the size of the original sheet of paper. If you were to unfold it, it would look something like this. So any questions? Everyone good so far? Not going too fast? So it's almost there. So Evan, is it about zines in general, or? Okay, so TJ, if you're just joining us, we just had our sheet of paper, right? We folded it once from bottom to top, and then we folded it a second time and a third time to basically make it like a little rectangle. And so that's what you have. And now you're gonna unfold it a little. Now that you have it all folded, you're gonna unfold it a bit until we have where it's just the half sheet again. So like what you had, when you first did the first fold, that's the state we want it to be in. So there's only one fold in place right now. And now if you have scissors, you can take those scissors, and what we're gonna do is, this part's important, so maybe be careful. Just so like you have an open side and you have the folded side, right? So we are going to take our scissors and cut into the folded side. So not the open side, the folded side. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut into this fold here. And this is the closed folded side. I'm gonna cut just halfway into it so that we're cutting until we hit the middle fold. Does that make sense? So again, we got back to the state where we only had one fold in this sheet of paper, which was like this, right? And then on the folded side, the side that's closed, we cut until we got halfway into like the center of the sheet. Does that make sense? Were people able to follow that? And even if you don't do it the way we said, it's okay. It's okay. This is an opportunity to make something that whatever way you do it is good. You're good. No worries at all. So now that we have this cut in here, you didn't cut yourself. Okay, that's important. Yeah, you don't want to cut yourself. So hopefully no one's injured by the end of this. If you're injured, it's not my fault, I think. Unless, yeah, not today, anyways. So what I just did is, like, I folded it, so I unfolded it, right? So like now it's back to the way the sheet was originally, sort of, but it has all our folds and our cut. And then I folded it half over this way. And then this is the hard part. So I folded it over long ways, so it's like long ways, and then you have this little like flap thing in the middle once you do that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna push it together. So like you're pushing the two ends together, and then what it'll do is it'll create something like this, and you can just fold it over. And then just strengthen the fold there. And what do you know? We have, so fun fact about the diamond of power, I was not aware of that. So, thank you, Professor. Okay, so do people need me to do that again? Because that might have been confusing, because it was weird, right? So after we made our cut, we unfolded it, right? And then instead of folding it back like this again, we folded it like this, longwise. And then it gives you like the hole in the middle, right? And we pushed the two ends together. And what it does is it creates these new pages. And that's the zine, right? You might need to like do the binding edge, like maybe just like make it a little bit tighter. Just ensure that fold. So how do yours look? Does it look all right? And it's okay if you didn't do it the way I did it. It's okay, no problem. It's not a big deal. But does anyone need me to go over that again? Were people able to follow? Cool. I think crab is the ultimate design, yes. I'm a big fan of the crab. So you should have, if you include the front cover and the back cover, that's 8 pages. So you have like, let's see, I don't even know how a book normally works. So you have the cover, and then you have, so like this is the first page basically, the second page, third page, fourth page, fifth page, 6, 7, and then the back cover is 8. You having trouble, Mas Tacos, please? Because it's all good. If you did it a different way, if it doesn't look like this, if it looks like something else, there's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way. I'm just doing a common way, and so that's what we're doing together. Okay, cool. How did it fold it again? So in the beginning, we had the sheet was like tall like this, right? And then we folded it from the bottom to the top, and then we folded it over like this, over again, and then we just sealed the folds. We unfolded it until it was back just with one fold, and then we cut into here, halfway through the page, and then unfolded it. We folded it longwise, and then we pushed it together. So you're pushing like the two edges now until that. Think of it as folding the short edges to each other 3 times, if that's helpful for anyone. So, okay, cool. I'm glad you're able to get it. All right, so now we are ready to start making the actual content for the zine. So. And this format, by the way, I'm just like shamelessly ripping this off from, what's the person's name? You know, I had it in my notes. Where is it? Dang. Well, I lost the person's name. I'll link to it on River just for credit. I don't know where it went. Okay, but so for the cover, and you know, you can do this like Western style, or you can do it manga style. It's up to you. I'm gonna do it Western style. So I think I am. Is this right? Binding on the left? I don't even remember anymore. So for the cover, so we're making a quarantine, so it's about life under lockdown. So you can call yours whatever you want. So you just put the title, maybe like do a little bit of drawing on it. It doesn't have to look good. It doesn't have to look professional. It just has to be. So just making something. There you go. So we have a whole bunch of faculty in here tonight. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a title. I haven't actually thought about this in advance, so I'm just gonna make something up. And I'm also gonna like set a timer so everyone has like the same, like a basic amount of time for people to do stuff. So I'm gonna set like a 3-minute timer. So go ahead and take that cover and give your zine a name. So it's the one that I'm doing is related to the quarantine, because just to help like process what's going on. And so you write the name on there, and then do some kind of drawing that represents what it is. So I'll do a drawing about quarantine, I guess. So again, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna put, so we'll find out. So about a minute left, and if you don't finish, it's okay. You can always finish it later. Okay, so if you heard the timer, time's up. Corn zine, all corn jokes, that's fine. Very corny. Corona and talking about my experience with it. Okay, cool. So for mine, just so for reference, and I don't know if this is done. I just called mine Lockdown Life. And it has someone at a computer, and it has the sun shining in, and looking outside and being very sad. And it's just compute and zoom, and that's it. So that's my cover page. So now I'm gonna open up, and so now I'm gonna work on the first interior page. So I'm flipping off this one, I'm flipping this page, and now I'm gonna work on the next page. So the prompt for the next page, so I'm actually gonna write this in which is what has changed the most since lockdown. So what has changed in your life since lockdown? So I'm gonna write it on the page so people have it as a reference if they look at it. So again, the prompt for this page is what has changed the most since lockdown? And so I'll set 3 more minutes so you can have time to draw something. Alright, so time is up. Strangest Places, and it's about befriending an unlikely thing during this quarantine. I hope it's a true story. Okay, so the second page of the prompt was what has changed most under lockdown. And so for mine, just to give you an idea, it's kind of hard to tell, but so I wrote the prompt at the top. So this is the grocery store. So life is like an apocalypse movie. So in the grocery store, I was in like the freezer section at like 11 at night. There's hardly anyone in there. This is I don't know, someone wearing a mask. And this is the freezer section, brr. And so when I was in the grocery store, it was just super surreal the other day. I was like the only person in the aisle, and someone like started like coming down the aisle, saw that I was in the aisle, you know, wearing their mask and everything, and then they turned around and walked the other way. So that was just like kind of a weird moment. And then also like they were playing like the radio on the intercom system. It was, and the radio station had changed its name from whatever oldie station to Stay Home Radio, which is like one of those weird kind of details you have in like, you know, a game or something, where like it's, you know, something like from like Fallout or something. So really weird moment to think that like our life now is like a movie, and like, you know, specifically like one about the apocalypse or, you know, something like that. So it's crazy. So moving on to the next page. So the next page is, the prompt for the next page is that, what is the hardest part of living under lockdown? What is the hardest part of living under lockdown? The hardest part. So you can write that prompt on there and then draw something. I'll go ahead and set a timer. Okay. Okay, so that means time's up for now. So the question for this page was, what's the hardest thing about lockdown? And so I wrote the prompt on the side, and I said, nothing is certain anymore. Nothing to look forward to, no plans. So, and it has a calendar with 2021 on it. Just like, you know, we don't know what's gonna happen, like, in 2021. We don't know what's gonna happen next week even, you know, like, you can't plan anything, you can't know what to do. You know, if you had travel plans, those are gone. If you had event plans, those are gone. You know, if you had a wedding, that's gone. If you had visiting friends, that's gone. So it's just like not knowing is really hard. Okay, so moving on to the third one, the third page, or sorry, the fourth page if you're counting the cover, fourth page. So the next prompt is, what gives you joy under lockdown? So what gives you joy under lockdown? So I'm going to write the prompt, and then you can write something, draw something, whatever you want to do to answer that prompt, or whatever you're working on. What gives you joy under lockdown? Okay, so time's up for now, and it's okay if you wanna start over, if you wanna do a second one, you know, it's anything you wanna do is good. Okay, so the prompt for this page was what gives you joy under lockdown. So this drawing's especially bad. So here you go. So Kitty loves me. So this is supposed to be me and my cat, and I should note that my cat is not this ugly in real life. She is not this ugly in real life. She's much cuter than that. So that gives me joy. Although sometimes she gets really angry at me, and that's scary. But usually she's like always like cuddling, and she wants to be close by. She wants to know what you're doing. So that's very comforting in a way. So should we go on to the next one? Okay. So she's in the other room. I'll try to bring her at the end, okay? She's a real cat, I promise. Okay, so the next page, the next prompt is for, let's see. Okay, so for page 5, the next one is, what is something you've learned about yourself under lockdown? What is something you have learned about yourself under lockdown? What have you learned about yourself? anyway, so okay, so let's see. Professor Richmond has cats cuddling him, which is nice. Anyone else have any pets? Just curious. All pets are good pets. Even bad pets are good pets. As long as they can accept pets, and even if they can't, they're also good. And again, if you forgot, the prompt is something you learned about yourself in lockdown. Not under the bed more often lately. So does that mean around? Tiger Lily? Has Tiger Lily been hanging out? Alright, so time's up on this page. So the prompt for this page was something I learned about myself in lockdown. So here's mine. So my mental health is fragile. And it says like, I started to say depression, stress, melancholy. Yeah, it's hard to build up your mental health to feel good, and it's easy for things to break down is what I've learned. Some people like lying in worms. I mean, it might be weird in a can, it might be kind of tight, but there's nothing wrong with worms. Alright, so Montage of staring at a wall in lockdown. Okay, so the next page is, the prompt is, what do you miss most? So what do you miss most under lockdown? What do you miss about before? So I will set the timer for 3 minutes. What do you miss most about life before lockdown? Alright, so time's up for this one. So the prompt was, what do I miss most from before lockdown? Sorry, you can have your metaphors. I thought they were worms. Okay, so what do I miss from before lockdown? Helping my students. So I don't know if you can tell, but this is the game lab. So these are all the chairs, they're all empty, right? This is the conference table at the front. And I have to say, honestly, the thing I miss the most is teaching, like for real, like in person, and like connecting with people that way. So it's hard teaching online, and it's hard learning online, right? So yeah, I miss you all. Okay. So we have 2 pages left, right? We have this one, and then we have the back cover. I'm glad you all miss it too. That makes me feel good. Okay, so for page 7, the prompt is, what is the first thing you want to do post-lockdown? What do you want to do after lockdown ends? The first thing you want to do post-lockdown. Got it? So I will start the timer. First thing you want to do post-lockdown. Okay. So, this one, the prompt was, what is the first thing you want to do after lockdown? Just in advance, mine is a joke. It's okay if yours is serious, by the way. So what is the first thing you want to do after a lockdown? Lick doorknobs again. And that's me licking a doorknob in a totally platonic way. And it says 100xjk on the bottom. I didn't mean for this to look sexual, that was not the intent, but just, you know, your everyday life, licking doorknobs in public, like the building doorknob, licking the one for the game lab, for instance, licking the one for my office, licking the bathroom doorknob, licking the inside and the outside one, because you gotta get both sides covered. Yeah, licking doorknobs. I would never lick a doorknob in real life. That's, oh my god. I put it because that's absolutely not what I want to do. Did you all hear about like the person who, like, I don't know if it was like a TikTok person or whatever, who like licked a toilet and then got coronavirus for like followers? Don't do that. Don't lick toilets. Don't lick doorknobs. Unless it's your own personal toilet and personal doorknob. And even then, don't do it, please. Okay, so hopefully we are now on the last page, the final page. So for this page, this one's actually a free page, so we don't have a prompt for it. So whatever you want to do to close up, whatever you want to, maybe if you want to have like some kind of summarizing feeling you want to communicate, whatever you want to write here that's, you know, on the topic of what we've done is good to go. So whatever you want to do. So I'll set 3 minutes on the timer and you can just go for it. Prompt 2, page 3 was, what's the hardest thing about lockdown? Oh, yeah. Oh no, sorry, wait. Yeah, that's alright. The first one was, what has changed the most since lockdown? The second one was the hardest part of living under lockdown. And then, what gives you the most joy under lockdown? What is something you've learned about yourself under lockdown? What do you miss the most under lockdown? And then the first thing you want to do post lockdown. And then we're working on the free page right now. Okay, so we have the free page now. So this is whatever you wanted it to be, sort of to sum it up, or you know, whatever you want, really. And so I just wrote, I miss you all, even you. Yeah, even you there, you. So I miss, yeah, I miss teaching. I miss my friends. I miss everyone that I can't see right now. But yeah, I especially miss my classes. So I'm always thinking about you all every day. And I want everyone to be well. I hope everyone is doing well. So it's cool to make happy ones. It's cool to make sad ones. It's cool to make ones that don't make sense. It's cool to make ones that make sense. So how did yours turn out? So I hope, so like, is this going to be graded? So you'll be able to submit them. So I'll post on River, and then everyone can reply. If you wanna can also share it on social media or what have you. Share it with your friends. So once again, if you have, it's really important for us to stay connected, because it's easy to feel disconnected. It's easy to feel like you don't talk to anyone, you don't feel like anything matters, and so it's really vital that we have the feeling of connection. So, we're all mad these days. I'm glad it felt good to draw something. So, and however you did it, whatever you did is totally good. Like, you're totally good with whatever you did. So yeah, I'm really excited to see everyone's. So I'm gonna post something on River, and you can continue to work on it if you want. You can make another one if you want. It's up to you. And just for reference, I forgot to show you my partners. So this is the one that they made originally. So it's called A Siren Went Off while I was folding this scene, because a siren went off while they were folding this scene. So what has changed the most? I miss my friends. And then the hardest part, grocery shopping is scary. What if I kill someone from like coughing or sneezing, or what if you have it? And then what gives you the most joy? Ariel is our cat, loves to cuddle, 3 spoons. And then what did you find out about yourself? They found out that they still find so much solace from rooftops. So they hang out on the roof a lot and just get some fresh air. And then, actually, yeah, I think so. Like, she was adopted, but I think it was a typo. But it spelled like the font, not like the mermaid. And then what do you miss the most? Dancing and being seen. And then what's the first thing you want to do post-pandemic? Hug orgy. Everyone hugs. Everyone gets together, comes together, and hugs. And then the free page is what they drew. I miss everything. So that's the zine. TJ, it's just graded on just doing it. Like what you can do is you can take some photos of each page and just share them as a reply. I'll post the thing on there. I'm really, really excited to see everyone's. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. However you did it is good. And so I promised you that I would show you my cat, right? So I'm gonna go get her. All right, are you ready? Ready for the excitement? I'm gonna take my headphones. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is Ariel. She likes being handled roughly. I'm not hurting her or anything. This is normal. See, it's a normal cat face, nothing weird. Right? She's probably upset because she's been locked out of the room for hours. I don't know, if you have a cat, you know that cats hate closed doors, locked doors. That's their enemy. So she's just been sleeping a lot. She's been very cuddly. And yeah, I haven't pet her much today because I've just been really busy. So she's probably pretty happy right now. And she tells me when she wants down. So yeah, that's how to make a zine. So again, it was the first zine I've ever made, and it's probably the first zine you've ever made. although Matthew is a master. Sorry, Professor Beloshek is a master. People have first names and last names, it gets complicated. But yeah, however you did it is great. You're welcome to make more if you want. And I'm really excited to see everyone's. Does anyone have any last thoughts before we cut off for this week? She's like rubbing against my computer now. So the one that we made together, including the cover, was 8 pages. However many pages you have is good, however many you want. So what was the second page question? So the first page was the cover. The second page was what changed the most under lockdown. The third page is what's the hardest thing about lockdown. The next one is what brings you joy under lockdown. The following one is something you learned about yourself during lockdown. And then what do you miss most from before lockdown? So I'm saying lockdown so many times. And the last question prompt is what is the first thing you'll do after lockdown ends? And then you have the free page on the back. So I'll post the prompt again on River so people have them if they want to take a look again. So it smells safe to me. I'm glad people liked it. So it's a little bit different, right? So obviously, like, this is not in Blender. This is just very accessible. Anyone can do it, right? Anyone can get joy out of making something small. It would be cool to make a zine and write down the questions and trade with someone and answer each other's questions. Yeah, that's a really good idea. That would be really cool to have like a bunch of get to know each other, right? So it's nice to sort of now I have an excuse to talk about how much I miss you all, right? It's nice. And that Kitty loves me, and you can see how terrible my drawing skills actually are. It's true. So next week we'll be animating this in Blender. No, I'm just kidding. We will not be animating this in Blender. So we'll pick up we'll resume doing animation, doing 3D stuff, starting with animation next week, and then we might need to play with the schedule a little bit to make sure everything fits. So it might be a little simplified version. If you want to get ahead on that, I'll post how to get started with it on River. So, any last questions or thoughts before we cut off for the night? If not, you can just say good night. My buzzer just rang. So I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you have a good week, and I hope you're all well. And hopefully this was a good experience, not a bad one. Okay, I'm closing off the stream. Thank you all for participating. I will see you soon.